there and welcome back in the third episode of Python Challenges. In the previous video of this playlist, I shared with you this challenge and today we are going to solve it together. The problem is asking us to make a function called square that takes a positive integer n as a parameter and prints a hollow square of dimensions n. Before showing some examples, here are some side notes to keep in mind. The input n represents the side size, which is the number of stars. And also, you can add a few spaces after each star to make it look more like a square. And now, here are some few examples to make the problem more clear. If you didn't solve the problem from the previous video, you can pause the video here, try to solve it on your own, then come back to see the answer. First, I'm going to show you the algorithm for an easier version of this problem, which is printing a filled square. Then we will see later how to make it empty from inside. For that, we need two nested loops. The first loop will go over each row. Then the second loop is responsible for going over each column of each row. With each iteration, the program should print a star. A pseudocode of this algorithm is shown on the screen, and we will see how it works step by step. Here in this example, we assume that n is equal to 4. So we start from the first row and the first column. Then we print a star. After that, we go to the second column and we print another star. And we continue doing that until we reach the last column. When we hit the last column, we exit the loop, we print a new line, and we go to the next row to do the same steps again and again till we reach the last row. So that was the approach to print a filled square. Let's go back to our original challenge and see how we can print a whole square. So if you try to compare the filled square to the hollow square, you can find easily that in the hollow square we only print a star when we are at the first row, at the last row, at the first column, or at the last column. And all other places are filled with empty space. So if we just add this condition to the filled square algorithm, we get our precious hollow square. Now let's see how does the algorithm work step by step on this 4x4 square example. For the first row, the program will do the same steps the filled square algorithm performed. So let's start simulation from the second row. We start from the first column. Now we start checking the conditions we discussed previously. Is it the first row, the last row, the first column? And yes, voila! This condition matched. We are at the first column, so we print a star. And now we go to the next column, and we start checking for the conditions again and again. Is it the first row? Is it the last row? The first column? Or is it the last column? And as you can see, it does not match any condition. So we go to the else statement and we print a white space instead. Then we continue iterating until we reach the last row and last column. To implement such algorithm in Python, we start by defining a square function that takes n as a positive integer parameter. After that, we add a for loop that loops n times, from 1 to n. In Python, the upper bound in the range method is not included, so the range will stop at one step before n plus 1, which is n. And also, we add an inside loop that also loops n times, because we need a square. Then we start checking for the conditions, and if any condition was met, we print a star. and I added 2 spaces after the star so it looks more like a square when printing the end shape. And the end equals empty will prevent the print function from going to the next line. And if the condition was not met, we print 3 spaces without any star. And at the end, we go to the next line when we hit the end of each row. Similar to previous videos, the hero section is empty, which is kinda sad. No one has solved this challenge. But if you think you deserve to have your beautiful name in this section of this video next time, another challenge is waiting for you in the last section of this video. So for the next challenge, you're asked to make a function that takes a list of integers, nums, and an integer target, then returns indices of the 2 numbers from the list such that they add up to the target. And here are some examples to understand the challenge better. And here are some notes to keep in mind. You may assume that each input would have exactly 1 solution, and you can return the answer in any order. And finally, here's another example, so it becomes more and more clear. At the end, don't forget to leave your solution in the comment section below. And if you like this kind of videos, we appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss our programming and tech content in the near future. And as always, thanks for watching.